Wild Arms 4 is a role-playing game developed by Media.Vision and released for the PlayStation 2 in 2005. It follows the story of Jude Maverick, a young boy who stumbles upon advanced technology and becomes involved in a conflict far bigger than he imagined. The game blends traditional JRPG elements with sci-fi and Western themes, offering a unique experience in a war-torn world. The gameplay introduces the Hex battle system, a tactical grid-based approach where positioning is crucial. Unlike previous turn-based systems, players and enemies share a battlefield divided into 7 hexes. This adds a strategic layer to combat, as movement and placement can affect the range and outcome of abilities. Each character brings unique skills to adapt to different battle scenarios. Exploration in Wild Arms 4 feels dynamic, thanks to platforming elements rarely seen in RPGs. Jude can run, jump, and interact with the environment, making dungeon traversal more interactive. Puzzles and obstacles require timing and thought, blending action and strategy. This mix gives players a break from combat and adds a layer of depth to traditional dungeon crawling. The story revolves around the emotional journey of 4 young heroes, Jude, Yuli, Arno, and Raquel, as they confront the realities of war and the price of peace. As the narrative unfolds, themes of loss, trust, and identity are explored in depth. The characters each carry their burdens and develop over time, giving the story a heartfelt and often dramatic tone. Visually, the game uses a mix of 2D and 3D graphics with a stylized anime aesthetic. Cutscenes are voice-acted and support the emotional weight of the story. The soundtrack, composed by Masato Kuda and Junpei Fujita, complements the game's tone perfectly, mixing melancholy, hope, and intensity. The presentation overall helps Wild Arms 4 stand out among other RPGs of its era. Fun facts: Wild Arms 4 is the first in the series to abandon the traditional overworld map. The Hex battle system was inspired by tactical RPGs, but streamlined for speed. Jude is the youngest main character in the series. Although it wasn't a huge commercial hit, the game gained a cult following for its bold changes. Its blend of action, emotion, and strategy still resonates with fans today. Growlanser Generations is a compilation of 2 tactical RPGs, Growlanser 2, The Sense of Justice, and Growlanser 3, The Dual Darkness, developed by Careersoft and released for the PlayStation 2 in 2004. This collection offers deep storytelling, branching paths, and strategic combat, presenting fans with a rich anime-inspired fantasy world full of political intrigue and war. Combat in both games blends real-time and tactical mechanics. Players command characters on a battlefield where positioning and timing are key. Unlike turn-based systems, battles play out in semi-real time, requiring quick decisions. Magic, skills, and movement all happen dynamically, creating intense strategic scenarios that demand both planning and reflexes. Each title offers unique characters and plotlines. Growlanser 2 follows Wine Cruz as he navigates conflicts between nations and uncovers hidden conspiracies. Growlanser 3 shifts focus to a new cast led by Slaine Wilder in a darker, more personal journey. Both stories emphasize choices, and multiple endings reward different decisions throughout the game. The character art, designed by Satoshi Urushihara, stands out with its distinct anime style. His detailed illustrations add emotional depth to the characters. Dialogue is voiced in English, and players can build relationships that affect outcomes. Romance, loyalty, and betrayal all play a role in shaping each hero's destiny, making replaying both games worthwhile. Gameplay outside of battles includes exploration, dialogue choices, and managing party relationships. Side quests and optional content add replay value. Decisions made during the story can affect who lives or dies, what endings are available, and how your party members evolve. This player agency adds depth and consequence rarely seen in RPGs at the time. Fun facts: Growlanser Generations was localized by Working Designs, known for creative translations and deluxe packaging. The US release came with extras like art books and a soundtrack CD. The game's never released in Europe. Satoshi Urushihara's art style drew both praise and controversy. The series has never achieved mainstream success, but remains a cult favorite for tactical RPG fans. Wizardry Tale of the Forsaken Land is a first-person dungeon-crawling RPG released for the PlayStation 2 in 2001. Set in the dark fantasy world of Duhan, the game follows a lone survivor exploring the cursed Gauntlet Dungeon after a magical catastrophe. Combining classic RPG elements with a darker tone, it revives old-school gameplay with a modern twist. Gameplay centers around exploring complex, maze-like dungeons filled with traps, puzzles, and deadly enemies. Players build a party of up to 6 adventurers, choosing from multiple races and classes. Managing resources like health, magic, and torches is key to survival. The game rewards careful planning and punishes careless mistakes, true to its wizardry roots. Combat is turn-based and highly strategic. Each party member can perform basic attacks, use magic, or employ special abilities depending on their class. Front and back row positioning affects both damage dealt and taken. Magic is limited and powerful, so players must use it wisely. battles can be unforgiving, making every decision in combat feel critical. One unique feature is the trust system, where party members react to your choices and behavior. If they don't like your leadership, they might abandon you. This adds a layer of role-playing rarely seen in dungeon crawlers. Alignments and personalities matter, and building a loyal team isn't just about stats, it's about mutual respect and shared goals. Visually, the game uses a cold, somber aesthetic that fits its bleak narrative. Dark corridors, ambient sound design, and minimalist music create a tense atmosphere. Story beats are delivered through short scenes and conversations in town. The sparse storytelling enhances the feeling of isolation and danger, making each return to town feel like a small victory. Shadow Hearts is a dark, gothic JRPG released for the PlayStation 2 in 2001. It tells the story of Yuri Hyuga, a young man with the power to fuse with demons, as he becomes entangled in a battle between good and evil during an alternate history version of 1913. Combining horror, mysticism, and traditional RPG elements, it offers a unique tone and narrative direction. Combat uses the innovative Judgment Ring system, where timing button presses on a spinning dial determines the success of attacks and abilities. This system adds a layer of skill and tension to every battle. Turn-based at its core, the combat remains dynamic and engaging, with customization options for each character's equipment and abilities. The game blends historical elements with supernatural horror. Players travel across real-world inspired locations like China and Europe, encountering twisted monsters, secret societies, and ancient curses. This blend of history and dark fantasy sets Shadow Hearts apart from more traditional fantasy RPGs, giving it a mature and eerie atmosphere throughout. Yuri's fusion ability lets him transform into powerful monsters by collecting souls from defeated enemies. These forms come with their own stats and skills, adding depth to party strategy. However, using these powers affects Yuri's sanity points, and if those drop too low, he may go berserk. Managing mental stability becomes just as important as managing health. The story explores themes of trauma, destiny, and inner demons. Yuri is a flawed, sarcastic, yet deeply human protagonist. Alongside him are a cast of diverse characters, each with emotional arcs and backstories. The game's tone shifts between dark, tragic, and even humorous moments, making it emotionally rich and narratively compelling. Fun facts: Shadow Hearts is a sequel to the obscure PS1 game Kudelka. Despite modest sales, it gained a cult following for its mature tone and inventive mechanics. The Judgment Ring was so popular it became a staple in later games. Yuri's character design was inspired by 20th century pulp heroes. The game spawned 2 sequels, expanding its unique universe. Ark: The Lad Twilight of the Spirits is a tactical RPG released for PlayStation 2 in 2003. Set in a world divided between humans and the beast-like Deimos, the story follows 2 brothers, Karg and Dark, raised in different worlds. Their intertwined destinies drive a narrative filled with conflict, prejudice, and the search for a mysterious power known as Spirit Stones. Combat unfolds on grid-based battlefields in a semi-turn-based system. Characters move freely within a set range and perform attacks, skills, or magic. Positioning, movement, and targeting all matter, blending strategy with action. Each character has unique abilities, encouraging diverse party compositions. Battles can be lengthy but reward tactical thinking. The game alternates between Karg's and Dark's perspectives. Karg fights to protect humanity, while Dark seeks justice for the oppressed Deimos. Their dual campaigns provide contrasting views of the world's politics and morals. As the story progresses, their paths converge, forcing both to confront hard truths and the cost of peace between their races. Visually, the game uses a colorful yet slightly gritty aesthetic, mixing anime-style character designs with realistic environments. The soundtrack, composed by Takayuki Hattori, enhances the emotional tone with sweeping orchestral pieces. Voice acting is featured in key scenes, helping bring major character moments and dramatic confrontations to life. Outside combat, players can explore towns, accept side quests, and upgrade their characters. Spirit Stones act as both currency and a source of magical energy, tying progression to the game's lore. Equipment and skill management offer a fair amount of customization, while optional content adds to the world building and gives players reasons to explore thoroughly. Fun facts: Twilight of the Spirits is the first fully 3D entry in the Ark the Lad series. Despite being the 4th main game, it was released in the West without prior titles, so it serves as a soft reboot. The game features over 14 playable characters. A direct sequel, Ark the Lad: End of Darkness, was released in 2005 but shifted toward action RPG gameplay, dividing fans. Okage Shadow King is a quirky, turn-based RPG released for PlayStation 2 in 2001. The story follows Ari, a quiet boy who becomes possessed by an arrogant evil spirit named Stan. To help Stan regain his former power, Ari embarks on a bizarre journey filled with humor, oddball characters, and twisted fairy tale logic. The game is known for its offbeat style and unique tone. Combat is traditional turn-based, with a party of up to 3 characters. Each has unique abilities and stats, with battles focusing on strategy, buffing, and exploiting enemy weaknesses. The game uses a random encounter system and features a variety of creative enemy designs. Boss fights often involve humorous dialogue and story twists alongside their challenge. The world of Okage is made up of whimsical towns, dark castles, and surreal landscapes. Its art style stands out with exaggerated proportions and shadowy designs reminiscent of Tim Burton films. Everything, from architecture to NPCs, leans into a stylized, cartoonish look that enhances the strange, fairy tale atmosphere of the game world. Ari's journey isn't just about defeating evil lords, it's also a coming-of-age story. Though overshadowed, literally, by Stan, Ari gradually finds his voice and courage. Supporting characters like Rosalind, the cursed hero, and Linda, the wannabe pop idol, add comic relief and personal growth. The dialogue is filled with sarcasm, irony, and playful jabs at RPG cliches. Progression includes exploring dungeons, solving simple puzzles, and unlocking new areas by defeating evil kings. Equipment and spell upgrades are found in shops and treasure chests. While the gameplay is relatively straightforward, it's the story, characters, and tone that make Okage memorable. It's less about grinding and more about enjoying the ride. Fun facts: Okage Shadow King was developed by Xenorworks and was one of the first RPGs released for the PS2. Its original Japanese title was Boku Tamao, Me and the Devil King. The English localization kept much of its quirky humor intact. The game never received a sequel but developed a cult following thanks to its unique personality and storytelling approach. Suikoden Tactics is a tactical RPG spin-off released for the PlayStation 2 in 2005. Set in the same universe as Suikoden Afro, it tells the story of Kyril, a young man investigating the deadly rune cannons. Blending strategic combat with Suikoden's trademark political intrigue and lore, the game explores the consequences of war and forbidden technology. Combat takes place on grid-based battlefields with turn-based movement and actions. Terrain plays a key role. Each square has an elemental alignment that affects attack strength and defense. Characters can manipulate the terrain with magic, creating tactical opportunities. Positioning, elemental affinity, and timing are crucial to success in battle. The game features a wide cast of recruitable characters, many of whom also appear in Suikoden Afro. Each has distinct skills, weapons, and elemental strengths. Party management involves choosing the right mix of melee, ranged, and magic users, as well as adjusting to enemies' terrain and affinities. Battles are challenging and reward strategic thinking. Suikoden Tactics builds on its world through cutscenes, dialogue, and connections to the mainline series. While it expands Suikoden Afro's story, it also stands on its own, offering new characters and perspectives. Players who have saved data from Suikoden Afro can unlock bonus content. The story explores themes of legacy, revenge, and redemption. Visually, the game combines 2D character portraits with 3D battlefields and environments. The music, composed by Norikazu Miura and others, fits the series' epic tone with orchestral and regional pieces. Though not as cinematic as other PS2 RPGs, its stylized presentation supports the strategic gameplay and lore-heavy storytelling. Fun facts: Suikoden Tactics is known as Rhapsodia in Japan. It's the first and only true tactical RPG in the Suikoden series. Some fans skipped it due to Suikoden Avi's lukewarm reception, but it's now appreciated for deep strategy and expanded lore. It also features voice acting in key scenes and includes returning fan favorites like Laszlo and Snow if imported from a Suikoden Ivry save. Radiata Stories is an action RPG developed by Tri-Ace and released for PlayStation 2 in 2005. The game follows Jack Russell, a brash young knight, as he becomes entangled in a conflict between humans and non-humans in the kingdom of Radiata. Its mix of lighthearted storytelling, deep world building, and action combat creates a unique and memorable RPG experience. Combat is real-time and party-based. Players control Jack directly, while AI handles party members. Attacks, combos, and skills are executed in fast-paced battles, with formations and tactics affecting performance. Timing and positioning matter, and players can pause to issue commands. Combat is accessible, but offers surprising depth as new skills are unlocked. A standout feature is the game's living world. Radiata's towns and regions operate on a real-time schedule, with hundreds of NPCs living daily routines. Many of them are recruitable, over 170 in total, each with unique personalities and requirements. Exploring the world and learning about its inhabitants becomes a major part of the game's charm and strategy. The story begins light and comedic but takes a darker turn as Jack must choose between loyalty to humanity or peace with non-humans. This branching narrative leads to two entirely different paths and endings, giving the game strong replay value. The choice significantly alters which characters are available, what areas are accessible, and how the plot unfolds. The visuals are colorful and stylized, giving the game a fairy tale-like aesthetic. Character designs are expressive, and environments range from cozy towns to mystical forests. The soundtrack, composed by Noriyuki Iwadare, complements the mood with catchy themes and emotional pieces. Voice acting and humorous dialogue bring life to the quirky, heartfelt world. Fun facts: Radiata Stories was developed by the same team behind Star Ocean and Valkyrie Profile. It shares gameplay similarities with those titles, but focuses more on world interactivity. The game has no traditional magic system, only certain races use it. Recruiting all 176 characters is a huge challenge, and some can only be obtained on one story path, making 100% completion tough but rewarding. Our tonelico melody of Elemia is a unique JRPG released for PlayStation 2 in 2006. Set in a world built around a massive tower, the story follows Liner Barset, a knight tasked with saving civilization from a virus corrupting both machines and minds. The game blends sci-fi, fantasy, and music in a richly layered world shaped by ancient technology and emotion-driven magic. Combat is turn-based with a twist. Players control a frontline of fighters while supporting Radiatas, song magic users, in the back. Radiatas charge powerful spells over time, while others defend them from enemy attacks. Timing defenses and unleashing magic at the right moment is crucial. The battle system is fast, stylish, and built around synergy. A key mechanic is diving into the minds of Radiatas, known as cosmospheres. These psychological journeys reveal their inner struggles and unlock new song magic. Diving plays like a visual novel, with branching dialogue choices and relationship development. It's essential for story progression and gives emotional depth to the characters and their powers. The game's world combines traditional JRPG exploration with sci-fi concepts like artificial beings and digital consciousness. Towns, dungeons, and terminals are full of lore about the tower's history and the Hymnos language. Players craft items through a system called graph melding, combining materials and magic to customize gear and abilities. Visually, our tonelico uses 2D sprites over 3D backgrounds, giving it a distinctive, almost storybook look. The soundtrack, featuring vocals in the fictional Hymnos language, is a major highlight. Music isn't just atmosphere, it's woven into the narrative and combat. Voice acting, emotional scenes, and a rich sense of culture make the world feel alive and immersive. Fun facts are tonelico was developed by Gust, creators of the Atelier series. It spawned 2 direct sequels, forming a trilogy. The fictional Hymnos language used in songs was constructed specifically for the series. The game includes multiple endings based on relationship choices. Despite niche appeal, it gained a devoted fanbase for its deep world building and emotional storytelling. Magna Carta Tears of Blood is a Korean-developed RPG released for PlayStation 2 in 2005. Set in the war-torn land of Eferia, the game follows Kalans, a warrior fighting to protect his people in a conflict between humans and a magical race called the Yasun. The story explores themes of vengeance, identity, and redemption within a richly detailed fantasy world. Combat blends turn-based mechanics with rhythm-based inputs in a system called the Trinity Circle. Players select skills and then time button presses on a circular gauge to execute them. Each character uses chai, a form of magical energy tied to elements and terrain, adding strategic depth. Proper timing and positioning are vital to success in battle. The party features a variety of characters with distinct personalities, fighting styles, and elemental affinities. Players can develop relationships with party members, unlocking dialogue, side quests, and different endings. Managing chi balance and selecting compatible characters for each battle becomes essential, especially as enemies grow more powerful. Visually, the game is striking, with character designs by Korean artist Hyung-tae Kim. His detailed, stylized art gives each character a unique and dramatic flair. The environments range from lush forests to ancient ruins, creating a world that feels vast and lived in. The orchestral soundtrack and voice acting add to the emotional intensity of the story. Outside of combat, players explore towns, accept side quests, and gather items for synthesis. Equipment and skill upgrades allow for character customization. The pacing alternates between intense battles and slower story-building moments. As the narrative unfolds, twists and betrayals reveal the deeper motivations of both allies and enemies. Fun facts: originally released as Magna Carta Crimson Stigmata in Korea, the game was localized and renamed Tears of Blood for Western audiences. It's the second entry in the Magna Carta series, but the first released internationally. Despite mixed reviews, it developed a cult following thanks to its art style and unique battle system. A spiritual successor, Magna Carta 2, was released on Xbox 360.
Thanks for watching.